Subcommittee on Rules and Administration. It is 1:02 on January 6th, 2026. The meeting is called to order. Our meeting today is fully virtual and taking place over Zoom. And as a reminder, when addressing the committee by testimony, please have your camera on and check to see that you've taken yourself off mute, or I will remind you. And for members, when we're voting, you should be on camera for that as well. Any questions about that? All right. We have 4 items of business, administrative business to take care of today. And we have a number of people that are with us that are going to walk us through these issues. We have 4 issues on which we're going to vote. And the first is Mr. Hoff, Darren Hoff, coming to talk with us about the update, give the updates to the benefit book. Mr. Hoff, if you'd like to take yourself off mute, introduce yourself, and let the members know the changes to the benefit book.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Darren Hoff, Senate Human Resources Director. Members of the committee, thank you for your time today. I'll read a brief statement that highlights the significant changes to the Legislative Coordinating Commission's legislative plan for employee benefits and policies. The book itself was reviewed and edited by a cross-disciplinary team that represented the House, the LCC, and the Senate. Participants from the Senate included Lexi Stengel, Director of SCRFA, Betty Myers, Controller, Carlin Doyle Fontaine, Counsel, and myself as the Director of Human Resources. Changes to the benefit book can be divided into 3 sections. Insurance, reflecting the insurance that reflects the legislature's participation in the State Employee Group Insurance Program, or CGIP, policy changes, and technical changes. Items that are not included and or not changed in the LCC book includes Senate-specific policies, Senate compensation procedures and salary ranges, job classifications, and deferred compensation management. The latter is included in the book, but remains unchanged for 26-27. The insurance chapter under Minnesota statute, section 43A.18, subdivision 6, the LCC is responsible for establishing insurance coverage for staff and members of the legislature. Because the legislature purchases insurance coverage through CGIP, the LCC adopted the insurance coverage that became effective January 1st, 2026. The health, dental, life, and disability benefit provisions are initially bargained through a coalition that includes exclusive representatives from all of the state's unions. Final bargaining is completed between the state and the exclusive representatives from AFSCME and MAPE. As a result, the insurance provisions themselves are generally consistent from contract to contract. This year, medical insurance changes include cost sharing for mental health and substance use office visits will be reduced according to the cost level of the enrollee's primary care clinic. Co-payments for cost levels 3 and 4 will be reduced by $10 each, and the deductible will still apply. For dental insurance, there'll be an open enrollment for dental plans both January 1st, 2026 and January 1st, 2027. Orthodontic lifetime maximum is increasing from $3,000 to $3,200, and a new national network benefit will be available for individuals who see a dental provider outside of Minnesota that is in their dental administrator's national network. Other insurance changes include changes in definition of children. It's modified to clarify when a foster child, child by legal guardianship, or child by placement to an employee is considered an eligible dependent. The definition of grandchildren is modified to clarify when grandchild is considered an eligible dependent. And employer-paid basic life and accidental death and dismemberment between levels have been increased. In addition, a new plan or new voluntary employee paid legal benefit services is offered for 26. Medicare premiums are planned to increase by 17% in current year 26 for both employers and employees. These premiums are determined by MMB and are not negotiated. The primary policy changes in the plan. Multiple changes to conform with the implementation of paid leave law on January 1st. This includes the creation of a new leave section, which in many cases caused movement of current language to be reinserted in the new section. removes language to wages to conform with the appointing authority practices and employee protections under Minnesota statutes 181.172. There's clarifying language identifying the types of leave that are mandatory, optional, paid and unpaid types of accrued leave that are available for employee use, and interaction of existing leaves with the new paid leave law. It also establishes a vacation leave bank of 24 hours for LCC and limited term employees appointed to a full-time position of at least 9 months in duration, and prorates the bank for part-time employees who will become vacation accrual eligible. It also specifies how severance payouts are calculated. It permits temporary employees to be eligible for up to 24 hours emergency earned sick and safe time upon hire. Explains that employees must use sick leave for its intended purpose and not for other activities unless allowed by enabling leave law, and conforms with sick leave laws to permit appointing authorities to request documentation for use of sick leave for more than 2 consecutive scheduled workdays. It also clarifies that temporary employees who are not vacation eligible are not eligible to use sick leave for payout upon separation. It also permits employees to also permits employees to submit requests for leave of absence to their supervisor or human resource office as soon as practical, and establishes the process for approval of mandatory and optional leaves of absence. There is a new section dedicated to military leave in accordance with the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, or URESA. It also clarifies that employee participation in the employee interchange program is subject to approval of the appointing authority, and establishes a leadership approved leave for use in circumstances which it may be necessary or appropriate and another form of leave is not available. Also removes the requirement that parental leave may be used for bonding to clarify circumstances where paid leave is available in the event of a stillbirth. And then also notifies employees that expense reimbursements not filed in a timely manner may be subject to taxes and align expense reimbursement rates to federal rates. This is per IRS regulations. Also clarifies that relocation expenses must be approved in advance and removes outdated language related to house trailers. The technical changes, it removes reference to Legislative Energy Commission as a covered entity, as no other standing commissions are named. And then there are several editing changes to provide clarification and consistency across the book in order to correct typographical errors. With that, I wrap up my summary to the changes and have time for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hoff. Mr. Hoff, is it correct that this has been developed and already through the LCC, the Legislative Coordinating Committee?
That is correct.
All right. Thank you. Members, do you have questions for Mr. Hoff? Okay. Mr. Hoff, nice work. With that, I'll have a motion. Senator Pappas moves to adopt the Legislative Coordinating Commission Benefit Book with the proposed changes adopted by the LCC on November 10th, 2025, and any technical corrections made by staff.
So moved.
Senator Pappas moves the adoption. Are there questions about the motion? If you have your cameras on to vote, please. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say no. And that motion is adopted. Thank you, members. Up next, we'll hear from Secretary Bodern. If you'd unmute yourself and introduce yourself and proceed, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tom Bodern, Secretary of the Senate. Before you, you have a copy of a proposed Senate policy numbered 1.56. It's really just several sentences in length and would permit the development of a written statement of rules of conduct for visitors to the Senate building and really work areas in the Capitol and the Senate where Senate staff interact with the public. This is an initiative from the Management Advisory Committee, which is composed of myself, the Director of Senate Council, the Director of Human Resources, and both Chiefs of Staff. Obviously, there's some sensitivity around any interaction with the public. We want to be as accommodating as possible and serve the public as effectively as possible. And I think development of a policy like this will actually improve what we can do in that regard. The idea is to be consistent and clear across Senate spaces in terms of what kind of behavior is acceptable. For example, it's unacceptable to block hallways and impede the movement of staff and members through hallways around staff spaces. Shouting, profanity, all of those are topics that will be covered in a policy like this or in the rules of conduct. Essentially, this is a document too that can evolve. That's why the policy is written like this. It's intended to be developed in an open, transparent manner where full consultation with, again, the Management Advisory Committee and with Senate Council to make sure that we are accommodating any possible First Amendment concerns. I think what you would see in the end would be very similar to postings that you've seen in other public spaces where members of the public interact with staff. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bodden. Secretary Bodden. Members, do you have questions about both the purpose of this and the process of this? Do you have questions at all? Senator Champion?
Oh, I don't have any questions. I was just ready for any vote I
All
gotta
right.
do.
Well, nice work, Senator Champion. Senator Marty, would you like to make this motion? Senator Marty moves to adopt Senate Policy 1.56 on rules of conduct for visitors. Are there questions about the motion? Seeing no questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, say no. And that motion is adopted. Thank you, members, very much. Next, Council Lexi Stengel is going to describe a proposed addition to the policy manual on severe weather emergencies. Ms. Stengel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The changes to this policy look more significant than they are. The main change here is a change that would allow employees to accumulate comp time on severe weather days. There are some folks that work in the Senate that could work remotely during a severe weather day. And in some cases work more than 8 hours during a severe weather day and work remotely. So it makes sense for those employees with their supervisor's approval to be able to accrue comp time. Our current policy does not allow for that. That is the only policy change here. The rest of the changes are rewriting, making sort of updating, making grammatical changes, and just sort of clarifying the current policy.
Thank you, Ms. Stengel. Members, do you have questions? Seeing no questions, Leader Johnson, given the shoveling that you're doing, would you like to move this policy?
Yeah, this is one I would love to move, just without a shovel.
Senator Johnson moves the proposed changes to Senate Policy 2.47 on severe weather emergencies. Are there questions about the motion? And seeing no questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. And that motion is adopted. Thank you, members. And now to our last of the administrative policies we're dealing with today, and it is the rules taking up the Senate Information Systems Policy Update. Secretary Bodden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple observations, and then I'd like to defer to the folks who worked on the drafting. Our Senate Information Systems policy is, as you can see from the notes in the policies, hasn't really been changed or adapted in any way for a lengthy period of time. I think it's getting pretty close to about 20 years since any revisions were made. In the meantime, technology has evolved, and some of the terms used in the policy are glaringly obsolete. That's certainly one reason to begin the work. The product that you see in front of you here has also been revised to make it easier to find particular sections within that document and to conform to the policies overall. I'll defer to Ms. Fontaine and Mr. Ludden, who are here, if there are any substantive changes. On the whole, the intent is to make it up to date and easily accessible. But you may wish to hear further from Ms. Fontaine, who worked for quite a while with Mr. Lutton to make sure we could get this in the form you see it today.
Ms. Fontaine or Mr. Ludden, you have information you'd like to share. Ms. Fontaine.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll do a quick summary of the proposed or the changes to the two, there are actually two policies. One is a CIS user policy and the other one is the website policy for the Senate. So I agree with Secretary Bodden that these updates were intended to clarify, condense, and modernize. The provisions and language removed are obsolete, redundant, outdated, not applicable anymore to how the CIS department functions today, including some of that obsolete terminology Secretary Bodden mentioned, such as references to electronic mail, dial-in access, backup tapes, word processing, and diskettes. Those are some of the old terms from 20 years ago. I'm happy to report that the policy length was reduced from 29 pages to 10, and a complicated internal policy numbering convention was also eliminated to make it a little more friendly to the eyes when you look at it. Other highlights included in the CIS user policy were addition of a purpose statement, providing clarity regarding CIS support for personal computers and other devices, clarified inspection of email provisions, removed several outdated provisions regarding loan of hardware, software acquisition, and software library, and then updated the purchasing procedure, future hardware acquisition, and communications acquisition provisions to align with the current procurement practices for the Senate. So that is sort of the first policy, 1.60, and some of the technical aspects more as to Robert and CIS's functions, he could answer those, but these were just sort of the kind of the structural things and just really condensing the policy for ease of reading. I can take any questions after I finish the summary of the proposed changes to the Senate website policy. That's Senate policy 1.65. That was formerly known as the Web Page Development and Maintenance Policy. So these were also just to clarify, condense, and modernize, and to reflect the current and best practices regarding the Senate website. And the highlights include revisions to policy to reflect the responsibility and provide updated guidelines for development of web pages maintained and controlled by the Senate, to provide direction and examples of links that are allowed on Senate web pages that are under the Senate control, added language regarding content and accessibility guidelines, to reference adherence to the newish Minnesota legislature digital access policy that needs to be adhered to by the sender of the digital content to CIS before it is placed on a link on the website. And then finally clarified that information that is included on member, committee, and office pages, and then included removal of the secondary member page option as an option for Senate maintenance of websites. So that's basically a high-level summary of the proposed changes to the two policies, and any questions on specific changes you can direct to me or Robert.
Thank you, Ms. Fontaine. Mr. Ludden, do you have anything you want to add?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Carlin pretty much explained everything. The only thing I want to do is thank my staff that worked on this. Mary Gallagher, Lori Gazdan, Anna Marjani that went through this, and some of it was kind of funny to look at some of the older stuff, but the goal was to change it to modern technology and eliminate a lot of the clutter.
Thank you very much. Members, do you have questions on the modernization of our policy? Senator Coleman, are you interested in moving the modernization of this policy?
So moved, Madam Chair.
All right. Senator Coleman moves to adopt the proposed changes to Senate Policy 1.60 on Senate Information Systems. Any questions on the motion? Seeing no questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say no. And that motion is adopted. I want to thank everybody for being here for this meeting, but primarily for the work that everybody did to continue to make sure that the Senate is a place that functions well. We often don't see the work that's being done by so much of the staff that are here all the time. And, you know, the work means that we are able to function better for the people of Minnesota, and I'm really grateful for that. Seeing no other business before this committee, I move to adjourn. For those who are a part of the subcommittee, if you can just stay online, I'll adjourn the rules hearing. For those of you who are just on the rules committee, you're free to go. For those of you who are on the subcommittee and committees, please stay and we will conduct that piece of work before we go. Thank you very much. And that would be Senators Johnson, Champion, Coleman, Marty, and Pappas.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like if I stay, you know, and keep an eye on things, maybe
You're
that's not so
welcome.
terrible these days.
That's a
Senator
public
Marty
meeting.
laughed, so I'm off the hook.
Okay, all
All
right.
right, now I'm gonna take off. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, Senator
Yeah,
Prince.
Nick.
Have fun out there.
Yep.
Yep. All right. I'd like to move to bring the subcommittee on committees to order. Today it is January 6th. It is 1:23 p.m. We are working today by Zoom. It's a fully virtual meeting. So members, when we are asking questions or voting, please have your cameras on and make sure you're off mute, or I will remind you to come off of mute. We just have 2 appointments today, and I'm going to turn to Ms. Stengel to review the appointments before we take a vote. Ms. Stengel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I lost my tab, so apologies. Thank you. We have one member being appointed to the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources, or the LCCMR, to serve a term until December 31st, 2030, and another, and that's a member of the public, and then one senator, Senator Gustafson, to serve on the Financial Crimes Advisory Board Task Force, and that's serving at the pleasure of the appointing authority.
Members, do you have questions? Hey, Senator Johnson.
Hey, just quickly, the Senator Gustafson appointment, could you just describe what the duties are of that committee
Of the
or
financial
task
crime-
force? I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I'm wondering if Ms. Stengel, you could share just the authority of that working group, please.
Absolutely. I'm pulling up the statute now. So the relevant statute is 299A.681. If you'd like to read the whole thing. The short answer is, and I'll read from the statute, it's subdivision 3, and it says the advisory board shall offer advice to the commissioner on the development of an overall strategy to ameliorate the harm caused to the public by identity theft and financial crime within Minnesota. And then there are a variety of things that requires the commissioner has a variety of duties to do, and the task force is there to assist the commissioner in that general duty.
Thank you, Ms. Stengel.
Okay.
Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so, you know, not to elongate meetings or anything like that, but, you know, with the situation that's going on now regarding some of the DHS funding activities, will this have any oversight or any implication on that? Or is this only on the civil side of things from companies preying on potential victims within the state on financial fraud, that sort of thing?
Ms. Stengel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Senator Johnson, I can provide additional information to you after this. This is sort of outside of my area of
Sure.
expertise. But from a quick look at the statute, the advisory board is advising the Commissioner of Public Safety related to the investigation and prosecution of identity theft and financial crimes.
Okay.
So that's sort of the broad umbrella in which they're working. I don't know sort of how far that goes into some of the DHS things. It seems like they're more looking at identity theft and financial crimes. I don't know what the sort of in the Venn diagram of those two things, I don't know
Sure.
what they are. Don't know what the overlap is.
Madam Chair.
Senator
And
Johnson. Leader
thank
Johnson.
you. And Ms. Stengel, maybe afterwards, if I could get some of them, I'm just not clear on the jurisdictional areas on that one, but we'll chat after the meeting today or sometime before the end of the week. So appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank
Thank
you,
you, Lee
Ms.
Johnson.
Stengel.
You bet. Senator Pappas.
Madam Chair, I apologize if this was sent in the materials ahead, but I just had a question about the public person being appointed to the LCMR. Who is it and where are they from?
The materials were sent to you. She is, I believe, I know her name. But I have in front of me her name, but I don't have her resume in front of me. So I'm looking to Rachel. And I had it up in on my computer earlier than this. So hold please. I don't know where she lives. She is from Preston, Minnesota. She has served on this committee in the past as a member appointed by the House of Representatives. She has a degree in wildlife biology, conservation, and management from the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. She has worked for several years in marine benthic laboratory, participating in scuba research of kelp forests and taxonomy, identifying invertebrates that make up the ocean floor. She's been in the Midwest pursuing a career in agriculture as her understanding of ecological systems grew to recognize the potential of improved agricultural practices for wildlife populations. She does a lot of work in soil health, in healthy soil biomes, and she enjoys rock climbing. How about that?
Looks like a good appointment.
All right. Thank you for asking. Are there other questions? There are people in this office that are making jokes that you can't hear, and I'm trying to keep a straight face.
Well, I'll just move the approval of, what was her name?
It's Shona Langseth. Senator
Um,
Pappas moves to adopt the subcommittee on committee's appointment list dated January 6, 2026. Other questions? Please turn on your cameras if you're going to vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And those opposed say no. And that motion is adopted, and that is the completion of the work on this subcommittee and committees. I thank you very much for your time. This meeting is adjourned.